Alright guys, today is the day we're getting the solar upgraded here on the farm. And of course, when you know, the one day I need my solar to work, we got cloudy skies and a little rain. I ain't gonna complain. Let's take a look at what they're doing here. Good morning, everybody. Jake here, and I'm going to talk to you this morning about solar and power. And I had a lot of responses to my last solar video. I want to try and answer some of those questions, explain some of the differences, problems, and positives on the solar. Now, please realize that technology is changing very rapidly within this industry. Alright? The components that I have are an older style of technology, even though they are new. It was what was available at the time that I put this system in. The major components of our system were 5 to 6 years old. And 5 or 6 years ago, the technology that was available for solar was completely different. Now, the biggest response that I had to my solar video probably was cost. And I'm going to be the very first person to be upfront and honest with you as far as solar goes. In my honest opinion, it is a very how would I put it, poor investment return of money. The simple fact is 99% of the people out there are attached to the grid. And when you attach your solar system to the grid, you are able to feed your unused power back to the grid. The power company will generally buy that power back from you for some value. It's going to be way less than the value to which you pay for power, but they will give you credit against your bill, which will reduce your electric bill in theory. Now again, it all becomes a cost issue. Most people don't have a ton of money to drop on solar. So there are plenty of companies out there that are financing these systems and installing them on your home. We can go into that on a whole nother video, but the big thing that you need to know about your solar system if you're having it financed is, and point out to the installer, is you want a stand-alone system. If the grid goes down, you still want your system to be able to operate your home. And a lot of the systems being installed will not do that. They are not a standalone system. That comes into play with my system in particular because we are not attached to the grid. And our solar system provides all of the power that we need here on our homestead for everything to operate. Now that again brings into question What do you want your solar for? Are you trying to use solar to offset your electric bill? Are you trying to get a solar system to take you completely off grid? Are you looking for a solar setup to run a few items in your home should the grid go down, emergency use? There are many scenarios out there why you would want solar, and all of those are going to impact your installation and your cost drastically. If you are attached to the grid, you can basically buy as many panels as you have space for to feed back into the grid. And again, that cost is offset with your electric company. But at what cost is it efficient? I had a lot of responses of people that were buying things cheaper. With my system providing all of our power here at our home and not being attached to the grid for a backup reserve, it is very important to me to buy a very quality product, a tried, tested, and proven product. And Schneider has been in the industrial control business for probably 50 plus years. So their products are tried and tested. Most everything that I bought with my solar system come with a 10-year warranty. The panels, the batteries, the inverters, and controllers themselves were only a 5-year warranty. But it's still, if they're willing to back their product for 5 or 10 years, it is probably a good product. If you're buying second-hand equipment, you're probably not getting any kind of warranty, and you do not know the condition of those components. I would not buy used components. If you're still attached to the grid, something fails, you still got power. For me, when my system fails, I am without power, which is what I'm trying to avoid. So, answering the question of what do you want your solar to do is going to impact your system. Now, into the technical part of it. And many of you, this is where people kind of get lost, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, we have our panels outside. We have about 50 300 watt panels, which will give us about 15,000 watts of PV power. That's photovoltaic. Now, all of the numbers that these people are giving you are all numbers on paper, and everything looks good on paper, guys. But out in the real world, the cloudy days, the dirty panels, the time of day, all of those things come into consideration. So even though you have 15,000 watts of panels out there, you may not produce 15,000 watts. I think most manufacturers out there actually suggest about an 80%, all right, is what you're going to get off of those panels on the best day. So right off the bat, if you have figured the usage in your house at about 15,000 watts, you're going to need to oversize that system to make up for that 20% loss. If you have a 15,000 watt system out there, you need inverters and controllers that will handle those 15,000 watts. Now the power comes in from your solar cells and goes through a controller. My controllers will handle about 6,000 watts. So having a 15,000 watt system out there, I need at least 3 of those controllers, all right, which I have installed. Those controllers send that power to the battery, to the house. They basically control what goes on with it. The power sent to the battery is stored. There is no need to have 15,000 watts of panels if you don't have a place to put all of that power. Again, I am not grid tied, so I need a battery bank big enough to store all of that power and run my home throughout the night till daylight comes up again tomorrow. It just so happens that my house takes about 15,000 watts to run everything. That is 4 air conditioners on, water wells are on, lights are on, microwaves are on, TVs are on. Pretty much trying to run everything in my house takes about 15,000 watts. So throughout the day, obviously everything is not on all of the time, but throughout the day as I use those watts, it is pulled from the battery. It is not directly used from the solar panels. Some of the newer systems may have a pass-through effect to where it can actually use power directly from the solar panels. I'm not familiar with that. All of my power goes to my battery, which you see right over there. It's about a 1500 amp hour lead acid battery. It is not the new lithium technology. All of that technology was not readily available when I put my system in 5-6 years ago. So we went with the tried and proven lead acid, and they work great. I've got no problems with them. Again, the battery capacity, 1500 amp hours, you're only going to get to use 50% of that, because at 50%, they consider the battery to be low or dead and needs to be recharged. You can figure that any way that you want, all right? But you need a massive battery if you are planning on running your entire home. Now, a lot of people I know, they have an off-grid system, but they are running a small cabin, a small home, a tiny home, small air conditioner, small appliances, very nominal. I am running a large home, a 5,000 square foot barn dominium. I want all of the creature comforts in here. Lots of air conditioning, lights. I want to be able to run equipment, drill presses, plasma cutters, welders, all of that kind of stuff. To do that, you're going to need inverters. You need to convert that battery power over to a usable 120 volt or 240 volt power. And your inverters are what do that. My inverters, the 2 original inverters that I had, were rated to 30 amps per inverter. You can bank those inverters together to get more amps, which is what I've done. We ran this whole house for about 5 years off of 56 amps. We had 2 inverters, 30 amps. Again, you're only going to get about 80% of what that inverter is rated for. So if it's a 30 amp inverter, you're only going to get probably 27 or 28 amps out of it. 27 amps times 2, all right, you got 54 to 56 amps to work with. I ran air conditioners, equipment, lights, TVs, this whole entire house off of 56 amps. And to give you some kind of idea, the standard install from the electric company on a small apartment, small home, or anything is 150 amp service. And I'm operating this huge house off of 56 amps. That was the upgrade that we did. The old inverters, which we have right here, still in the boxes, okay? These old inverters were replaced with 2 new inverters. These boxes out here on the end are the controllers. I have a spare controller here, my 3rd controller, which handles the 15,000 watts. These 2 inverters, my original, were not lithium polymer compatible. So I replaced these 2 inverters with a new style, lithium polymer compatible, and added 2 more inverters to give me more amps. The originals gave me 30 amps a piece, okay? 80%, you get about 56. I added 2 more, they will provide 56. So now I have about 112 continuous use amps available. And for a house this big, since I've been able to do it on 56, I think with 112 I will have plenty of power. The next upgrade will be solar panels. because now that I have a way to use all of this power, 112 amps, I need to produce more power. Like I said, my house takes about 15,000 watts to run everything, and I produce about 15,000 on a good day. So if I'm using what I'm producing, I'm not charging those batteries over there. So you need more panels to get more amps, to charge the batteries, and to run your house at the same time. You can get all of that installed. Okay. And I'm going to throw a couple of clips in here to show you what is inside of these panels. It is not a simple single wire, 1, 2 wire, 3 wire type process. This is a fully automated generator backup, 112 amp continuous operation off-grid system. There is no fail-safe for if something goes wrong here, that the grid is going to come on and charge my batteries and provide me power. All right, this is totally inclusive, 100% off-grid, fully automatic, which I don't see a lot of these systems out there. They're just not installed. Much like my solar guy has said from the very beginning, most people have a grid backup. They are tied to the grid. So if something goes wrong with this, all right, it instantly clicks over and you got power from the grid. That is the big difference in this system. Okay, a lot of y'all out there have smaller systems, maybe grid tied, maybe not, but if you've got a problem, all right, it just clicks right back over, and you obviously know there's a problem, but you still have power. On an independent system, guys, it is totally different. I know a lot of you out there got smaller systems. You may even have 30 amp, 40 amp, 50 amp inverters, but is it running your whole house? The best test is to go flip off that main breaker on your house from the electric company and see exactly what your solar will do. I can tell you, with everything we got here, I said it before, the ACs are our big drain. So 4 or 5 months out of the year, this solar system is working its butt off. The rest of the time we can get by fairly easy. But to produce those amps for air conditioning, guys, is a big thing. And this is where you need to determine what your solar is for. Are you going to use it to survive? Do you want to live in comfort? Is it an investment? Electric bills and the cost of power, the cost of these utilities are only going to skyrocket, guys. So getting a system and having it installed and working properly on your house, it's not efficient, and it's probably not the best bang for your buck. But when the grid goes down, for you to have power is going to be very important. That's all that I can stress on you. I'm going to throw a few clips in here, try and narrate some as to what we did and show you guys. But you know, if you got questions about solar, you can get with me and I can try and point you in the right direction. But it is a black hole, guys. I mean, you know, the ability to tell the electric company to piss off and generate your own power, it is great, but it is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It is very expensive, time consuming. You have to watch it. You got to try and learn what's going on. And again, any of this stuff fails and you are shit out of luck. That's just the way it goes. So I'll throw in a few clips here of these guys working on our system, and that's just to give you an idea. But to run a whole modern home off-grid, I'm talking everything. ACs, dishwashers, TVs, tools. I mean, just like the home that you're in now. What would it take? I know a lot of you out there have said you've been able to do it cheaper, but I have yet to see a whole home system, off-grid, modern home, not a little cabin, for inexpensively done. I mean, yeah, you might be able to run a refrigerator or lights or individual items, maybe an air conditioner, My buddy is building him a little portable solar system, and he's up to about $10,000, I believe. And he's just now getting to where he can run a small portable AC unit. So, you know, I hate to see, you know, all these guys out there telling you that it can be done. And I'm not saying that it can't be done. But, you know, show me. The truth is in the video. You know, I paid good money for good equipment. I paid good money for a good installation. This is what it takes to run a home. I mean, yeah, you probably got $20,000 or $25,000 worth of labor to install all of this stuff, but the other, you know, $75,000 is in equipment. It's basically coming down to about, I would say, $1,000 per amp. That's what it's coming down to. I mean, if you want to run 100 amps into your house, you're going to be looking at spending $100,000. If you want to run 30 amps into your house, you're probably going to be looking at 30 grand. And you say, oh, well, I can do it a lot cheaper than that. I can do it a lot cheaper than that. I've looked at the equipment online, guys. You know, a 60 amp Solarc 15,000 watt inverter is about $15,000. That's one inverter. Now, you need the panels to run that. 15,000 watts in panels, that's an easy $1 a watt. I don't want to hear that you can get them cheaper or used or blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about a very high quality, good panel with a 10-year warranty. You're going to be looking at $1 a watt. So 15,000 watts, that's 15 grand right there. So, you know, you're at 30,000 just with an inverter and panels. Now your battery, well, what good is that if you don't have a big battery to store all of that power? A 1500 amp hour lithium battery is probably going to run you about $15,000. All right, so now you got $45,000 of equipment sitting there that needs to be hooked up. Panels on the roof, batteries, inverters, controllers, wiring, clips, doodads. You gonna wire all that up yourself? You get one wire wrong and you just burned up a $15,000 inverter. You get one wire wrong and you just set that lithium battery on fire. You get one wire wrong and you may have just fried $15,000 in solar panels. All right, so you're at $45,000 or $50,000 just in parts. That's how fast it adds up, guys. But I don't have a new bass boat. I don't have luxurious items. I don't have big shiny wheels on my truck. I don't have to keep up with the Joneses. This is what we do. Here's some little clips. I'll try and narrate some. Thanks for watching, guys. Okay, here's the guys from the company out working on the system. Give you a little look inside of there. You can see the relays and the coils. Inside of those boxes, guys, are just lots of computer chips, lots of technology. You know, the impervious EMP stuff. I mean, this system is it's going to be screwed. I don't mind telling you. There's a closer look inside of one of the inverters. You see the coils, the relays, the computer chips. Just a ton of electronics inside of there, guys, and you got to know what's what and where to hook up what. All right, this is back to solar install, and that's just one box of many that we got here, and you can see all those wires. This is why you don't do it yourself if you're not an electrician and know exactly what's going on. And these are the two new inverters over here, and I've already got two installed over here, but we have a whole mass of stuff going on to connect, interconnect, intercommunicate. You work a big system, that's why you pay someone to come do it. Okay, here's just some more of the guys doing some installing there. I can't stress to you the importance of an installation of a system like this. Again, guys, some of the smaller stuff, 12 volt, maybe 24, a lot of people can wire up, but this is a 48 volt, fully automatic generator backup, big system. So you just really got to know what you're doing if you intend on putting a system like this in. All the little components, the breakers, the connections, the wire, all of that is extra on the cost. So don't buy one of these kits thinking everything is in there. There's lots of little hidden costs. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, and subscribe.